I have to confess that I was sort of overwhelmed preparing today's update because of the prophetic significance of everything that is happening and that which happened within the span of just 1 week. And it happened to be the week of the 4th of July, Independence Day. To me, it speaks to how specific Bible prophecies are beginning to come to pass, and in so doing, they are coming to pass both swiftly and simultaneously. I don't know that I can overstate that enough. Not only is Bible prophecy coming to pass, it's coming to pass with great frequency and great intensity, simultaneously and swiftly. I like the word convergence. I hope it's not overused. But the idea is that all of these prophecies are converging together, coming together. I like how one said it. The world's not falling apart. God's plan is falling into place perfectly, exactly as we were told it would. I'm hoping you'll kindly allow me to just briefly mention the main developments just from this last week, and then what we'll do is look at what I would argue is of paramount importance prophetically for us as Christians today. First, there was this Peace to Prosperity Summit. It took place in Bahrain, and Jared Kushner unveiled the president's economic plan as part of the peace plan. It wasn't the unveiling of the peace plan, rather it was true to form, I don't know how else to say it, it was, the art of the deal, kind of bringing to the table an offer. And it's a lot of money. And that's basically what happened at this summit. Now, it's believed that this will be a prelude to the ultimate unveiling of the long-anticipated deal of the century, as it's been dubbed. Why is this important? Because we are told, Daniel 9:27, that there will be a peace covenant. We don't know who's going to do it. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but what we do know is that it will happen. So the wheels are already in motion. Another interesting development from this last week, that this first earthquake, 6.4, hits in California. And then there were the many aftershocks. And they're saying that it's the worst the state has seen in over 20 years. And this was just on Thursday. Then, of course, on Friday, they had a 7.1 earthquake that was felt in Nevada. Like many of you, I was watching the coverage of the earthquakes, and I was struck by the comments about how fearful people are. There was this one woman that was being interviewed on Fox News, and she was talking about how we're so afraid to sleep in our house, so we're sleeping outside. And the reason is we don't know if it's, if there's going to be another one that's going to hit. And they're saying there's going to be another one that's going to hit. And make no mistake about it, the aftershocks alone, these are not small aftershocks. So, because they don't know if and or when the big one's coming, they're on high alert. Jesus, in Matthew 24, when the disciples asked him about what would the signs be of your return and of the end of the age, really a twofold question. And the answer that Jesus gave was this, that we would hear of wars and threats of wars. There would be famines and pestilence. And then he says, there will also, nation will rise against nation, but there will also be earthquakes in various places. And he likens all of these things, particularly earthquakes, to birth pains, which again come in greater frequency and greater intensity. What Jesus was saying to answer the disciples' question about what will be the signs of the end of the age, he was saying this: my coming will be like a baby being born. What will lead up to it will be the birth pains, and the more frequent and intense the birth pains are, the closer you are to that baby being born. And so too, the closer we are to the Lord's return. That's what he's saying. If this weren't enough, talk about nation rising against nation, there's this continuing formidable threat from Iran, and I believe it rises to the level of warranting our urgent attention. This one right here should really get our attention. It's the much talked about and well-known prophecy found in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. It's a prophecy about Russia, Iran, and Turkey, along with another alliance of other nations, invading Israel from the north, which is Syria, which they are presently in, and they will invade Israel for the purpose of taking what Israel has. Now, in the interest of time, I want to present the case for what I believe is the beginning of this forming of the perfect prophetic storm. Maybe I can mix the metaphors and say it this way. These are aftershocks, if you prefer, that are warnings of that which is yet and even about to come. I want to start with this breaking Israel news report about Iran threatening to destroy Israel in 30 minutes. In it, they ask the question of, does this confirm prophecy of a speedy Gog and Magog? Speaking of Ezekiel 38, from a Jewish standpoint. See, they're still waiting for their Messiah, which is why they will embrace the false Messiah, the Antichrist, and then they'll realize at the 3.5-year mark in the middle of the 7-year tribulation, when it's believed that the Antichrist will commit the abomination that causes desolation, they will realize this is not our true Messiah, and that is what will bring them to a saving knowledge of their true Messiah, Jesus the Christ, for the last 3.5 years of the 7-year tribulation. So again, this Ezekiel 38 prophecy, aka the prophecy of Gog and Magog, is pivotal, is significant. Its importance is paramount. Listen to this quote from a senior Iranian official. This is the official that threatened Israel. He revised his threat from 7 minutes until total obliteration to half an hour. One response on one report that I read from one Israeli was, "Thank you so much for giving us an extra 23 minutes." But again, quoting the report, this raised the question of precisely how long the war of Gog and Magog will last. Now, stay with me on this. It's very, very important. Not only will the timing of the actual war, some believe, be really fast. In other words, this alliance of nations with Russia, Iran, and Turkey at the helm will be defeated, some believe, within a 24-hour period. That's how fast it's going to be. That's how quick it's going to end. So maybe I would ask the question is, okay, so it's not going to last long, but it's also not going to be very much longer before it happens either. Because of how pivotal and how significant and how important this specific prophecy is. On Wednesday, Arut Sheva published a report about President Trump warning Iran. By the way, I should probably parenthetically say that when Jesus in Matthew 24 said there will be wars and rumors of wars, that is better translated, there will be wars and threats or warnings of wars. Better translated. So, President Trump is warning Iran after Iranian President Hassan Rouhani issued an ultimatum to the remaining signatories of the Iran nuclear deal that he would end all limitations on uranium enrichment if Iran's demands are not met. Speaking of the sanctions that are currently on Iran. See, here's the thing. Iran's back is against the wall. What's different now is Iran has nothing to lose. They've got to do something. Well, this prompted the president to tweet, Iran has just issued a new warning. Rouhani says that they will enrich uranium to any amount we want, quote unquote, if there is no new nuclear deal. Be careful with the threats, Iran. They can come back to bite you like nobody has been bitten before. Let me just try to bring it in for a landing here. The warnings have been given. The big one's coming, and I'm not referring to the big earthquake coming. I'm talking about the return of Jesus Christ as the big one that's coming. And I mean, how many aftershocks, foreshocks? They call them foreshocks too, I guess. How many earthquakes? How many warnings? How many 6.4s? How many 7.1s need to happen before we heed the warning? There's coming a day when we're going to wake up in the morning, much like Californians did on the 4th of July, and it's just going to be a day like any other day. And unbeknownst to us, it's going to be that great and final day when the big one comes. When Jesus comes and takes his bride.
Still bracing for aftershocks.
I was screaming for my husband. It was pretty scary with all the water coming out.
The shaking so severe, watch this woman struggle to get up.
I used to see this in the movies, people falling down. I think, oh, this is corny. It's real.
Thousands evacuating in the wake of the 7.1 magnitude quake that rocked Southern California, leaving thousands without power and many homes in shambles.
It continues
this is a very strong
to rattle
earthquake.
pretty strong here.
8:21 here on the air. We're experiencing very strong shaking.
Wow.
I think we need to get under the desk.
All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back after this. Wow.
The magnitude 7.1 quake came just one day after Thursday's 6.4 jolt, which at the time was the largest earthquake to hit California in 2 decades. That quake turning life into chaos without warning turned out to be a foreshock. But this is what's left behind. A security video captured the shaking at a laundromat and inside this convenience store. The tape stops as the power cuts out. We talked to the store owner, Tony Abdulatif.
How much do you think you lost here?
Be honest with you, from yesterday and today, I would say about 100,000.
No insurance.
No insurance for the earthquake, of course.